This is Dream Vision 7's YouTube live stream radio show, and I am Lora Cheadle. My regular radio show is Flaunt, Build Your Dreams, Live Your Sparkle, and that is broadcast on Dream Vision 7 Radio Network every Wednesday, 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then what's really fun living in this digital world is you can download that show anytime that you have the time to download it and listen to it, and then listen to it on demand at your leisure. So if you want to browse through my archives, go ahead and go to the Dream Vision 7 radio page, find my show, Flaunt, Build Your Dreams, Live Your Sparkle, click on that, and then there's one of those little arrows that takes you over to the archive section, and you can peruse. But enough about the station, enough about my radio show. We are here now, live, Friday afternoon, woohoo! Getting ready for another show. Today's show it's interesting. I kind of want to tell you the way that it came about. I have a Facebook page, and if you're not on my Facebook page, please find me on Facebook, Lora Plank Cheadle, Lora Plank, Plank, Cheadle, Cheadle. I also have a group for the radio that's Flaunt, Build Your Dreams, Live Your Sparkle. And through either me or the radio page, you can find the other pages. What is fantastic about being on my pages is then you have access to me, and I can answer your questions, and we can have conversation, and I can learn from you, and hopefully you can get some insight from me as well. So what I did a while back, speaking of Facebook pages, is I posted on my Facebook page, hey, what are some of the questions that you listeners have? What are some of the things that you're struggling with? Because I'd like to address some of them on the air. And it was really interesting. I've printed out a couple of pages of these. There were a lot of questions, a lot of concerns. What it really boiled down to, though, the way that I looked at it, is the art of giving and receiving and finding that balance. Now, if you're like me, you might be a terrible receiver. And before you answer that, oh my gosh, yes, or oh my gosh, no, I want you to really think about what it means to receive. Because receiving is a difficult thing for us to do, especially for a lot of the listeners, a lot of the viewers who were raised in the United States. We have this belief in other countries as well, but I know just from my point of view, because I was born and raised in the US, we really pride ourselves on independence. We, broke away from the mother country. We came on the Mayflower. We immigrated here. We all came to this country, for the most part, to fight, to grow, to break away, to build things on our own. That's kind of the foundation of this country. Fighting and struggling and doing it on our own, breaking away and doing it our way. And yes, I understand that sort of left out the whole first Americans, the whole Native Americans that were here first. But unfortunately, that concept of fighting and struggling and taking over and taming the land is more of the energy that has been left in our country today. We're going to come over. We're going to fight. We're going to get through, excuse me, this first winter. We're going to learn how to do things, and we're going to fight, and we're going to struggle, and we're going to succeed. And there's nothing wrong inherently with being fiercely independent, with doing things on your own, with fighting, with struggling, and with succeeding. But what that leaves out is that whole collaboration. What that leaves out is that whole notion of I can't do it all. I am one person, and there are only so many hours in the day. And in those hours, I need to do a whole lot of things. And that's why cultures and societies have formed. And that's why we have roles within the society. We have the hunters, we have the gatherers, we have those who tend to the children, we have those who tend to the elderly. We have those who build. We have those who cook. We have those who treat sick people. We all have our specialized role in a society because we have to be collaborative. Even when we don't like it, we have to be collaborative. And that's kind of what I wanted to talk about today, is that balance between giving and receiving and being independent versus being interdependent. And please think about those words. Interdependent does not mean weak. Interdependency is when I am relying on you as much as you are relying on me. It's not codependency. It's not weakness. It's not dependency. It's an interdependency. Look at your family structure right now, no matter what that family structure is. People fill different roles. And I mean, not just necessarily the people that you live with, your extended family, growing up. Everybody had a different role. Like in my house, my husband takes the trash out. I never think about taking the trash out. He takes the trash out. It's not that I'm not capable of taking the trash out. It's not that I don't have the time to take the trash out. When he travels, which is quite a lot, I take the trash out. But it's his role, and we all count on that being his role. And I do all the laundry. And same thing, it's not that I'm the only one brilliant enough to do the laundry. It's just that it is my role, and everybody counts on that. And we could get along without each other, but it's nice to have each other. It's nice to have our roles and to be able to rely on the other person. Now, with kids, when our kids were little, I was the one that was much better at doing little kids stuff. That became my rule because that was my strength. Now that we have 2 teenage boys, there are places that he steps in that I have a harder time stepping in because I was not a teenage boy. And yes, I can relate in certain ways, but not in every way. And that's that interdependence. And it doesn't only happen at a family level, it happens at a career level. It happens at a societal level. And that's where I want to go to today, is more of that societal level of interdependence. There is a lot of talk about the budget lately and where to apportion money. And I'm not moving into the political arena and talking about that. I'm just using that as the launch point, that whenever we have resources, the budget, there's going to be discussion about how to appropriate that amount, because it is a limited resource and it does have to go somewhere. And the thoughts that I want to address are, where and how can we encourage a healthy interdependence in our society so we can all do what we're good at, so we can all use our gifts really for the benefit of everybody, instead of being so locked down, having to do it all on our own. Hope that makes sense. But it's, how do we encourage everybody to build their dreams and live their sparkle? It's like that whole Bible quote, I think it's a Bible quote, about you teach someone to fish, you don't just hand them the fish. How do we teach society to fish? And even though that's a great little analogy, a great little quote, I do want to take it one step further. We don't all have to fish. That's kind of the point. If we get some really great fishermen, then they can fish. And then we get some really great basket makers and they can make baskets. And then we get some really great people who can raise kids and they can raise kids. It's not about one person doing it all. It's how can we all be good at what it is that we're good at and how we can encourage that diversity and that breadth of talent and that breadth of value and that breadth of thought. Now, one of the easy things to think about, and yes, this all does come back to receiving. One of the easy things to think about is kids. I love my kids beyond anything in the world. I was a very, very passionate mother. I enjoy it. I'm good at kids, which is probably why I enjoy it so much. And I want to be around kids, whether they're my own kids or other people's kids. I love kids. And by kids, I mean from babies to high schoolers and even middle schoolers. Oh my gosh, I teach middle school yoga. I love middle schoolers. They are the coolest people on the planet. And everybody's like, ah, teenagers. But no, I love kids. I'm good at kids. Let me take care of the kids. Motherhood is one of those things, and I hate even calling it motherhood because it can be fatherhood. Parenting. It doesn't even have to be a parent. People who like kids, people who want to be with kids. That's one of those low-level things. Daycare workers do not get paid a lot. Elementary school teachers do not get paid a lot. Nannies do not get paid a lot. People who stay home and raise kids are not respected. Oh, you're at home. That's an easy job. No, no, no. It can be very fun and very rewarding, but it's not easy. It's never easy. No job ever is easy. Whether you love it or not, it's not easy. But my point on that is learning to give value to everything that needs to be done. Raising kids is something that needs to be done. It doesn't matter if you're a parent or not, if you have kids or not. The next generation needs to come up. The next generation needs to be educated. The next generation needs to be shown the ways of the world. The next generation needs to be there, or us, the older generation, will die out. Our world will collapse. We need to bring up that next generation. So I don't care if you have kids or not. I don't care if you like kids or not. Recognize that there's value in bringing up that next level. By the same token, a very, I hate to use the word overvalued, but parenthood, raising kids tends to be undervalued and overvalued, not because it really is overvalued, but you get what I'm saying. Profession is that of physician or doctor, somebody who cuts into the body and heals the body, somebody who has the ability to go in and excise a tumor, to take that ruptured appendix and clean it out. That's a very valuable profession. And that's why I was saying I hate to call it overvalued, other than our society puts doctorhood up here and puts raising kids down here. So you get what I'm saying. I know you do. Anyway, yes, that's very valuable. Last week, my dog had surgery and I don't know what happened, but the stitches came out and came untied. Kid you not, a gash like that big, in her side, hanging open. I go upstairs to my room, there's blood all over my bed. And I'm like, oh my gosh, what happened? I roll her over and I see the inside of her body. And she's not bleeding anymore. Fortunately, she's licked it. But there's this gash and she's hanging open. And I cannot handle that. That is not me. I love the body on the outside, doing personal training, doing fitness. Oh my gosh, I can't handle a cut open body, whether it's a human body or an animal body. Doesn't do it for me. I need someone in my world in the role of physician because it's not me. The same way we as a society need people to raise the kids because we need another generation. That's what I'm talking about with interdependence. I feel strongly that we need to get away from valuing doctor is better than person who raises. There's that whole hierarchy, and it's kind of problematic. We cannot have an entire culture, an entire city, an entire state filled with only physicians. The same way we can't have a whole world filled with caregivers or filled with, whatever it is, lawyers or doctors or teachers or any profession. We need that diversity. We need that diversity in thought. We need that diversity in passion, because it allows us all to move into that which we are good at and that we enjoy doing, and it raises all of our levels. It's like when I was saying my husband takes out the trash. We need sanitation workers in our society. Can we do it? Sure. Do we want to do it? No. It's not that, oh my gosh, he's a trash man. My husband's a trash man. Thank you for being that trash man. We need sanitation workers. We need everybody. And that arbitrarily assigned value is not necessarily okay, because it causes us to look down on certain people and certain beliefs and certain passions or desires. And it also causes us to elevate other things that maybe necessarily shouldn't be elevated. Okay, so you've got that kind of as that whole springboard. Yes, yes. So that's where the receiving end comes in. Believe it or not, that totally makes sense. We give what we're passionate about. We give what we're good at. But we also have to take from other people. I have to take my vet's gift of sewing up my dog because I don't want to do that myself. And when I go to the middle school, or when I used to go to the elementary school, the kids have to take my guidance or my teaching. Or more specifically, the other parents need to receive the gifts that I am giving to their kids by teaching them yoga, by sitting down with them and reading, by having the high schoolers over to my house to hang out. If all the parents were saying, you cannot go see Mrs. Cheadle because it's my job to raise you. Okay, that's great, but sometimes it's nice to have a different perspective. Sometimes kids will tell somebody else more than they will tell their parents because that attachment isn't there. Kids will tell me things that they won't tell their parents, not because they love me more or they trust me more, but because it's a different relationship. And they know I don't have that attachment and I don't have that buy-in and I don't have that family culture and family language that they have. So I can actually go, I see. Because it doesn't impact me the way it would impact their parents. By the same token, my kids sometimes do not need to tell me things because my response is too connected as the mom. I can't believe you did that. And it's healthier for me to accept the gift that somebody else is offering to listen to my kids or to talk to my kids or to give advice or insight to my kids. That's a giving and a receiving. And we don't tend to think of it that way, but that's truly what it is. It's a give and take. It's a receiving. It's a giving. And we're not great at receiving because of this cultural belief, this cultural identity that we came here to fight and to win and to tame and to do it on our own. And we don't value that interdependence. And what's a shame about that is there's a whole lot of pieces of just human dignity that get lost when we're all like this and we're going to do it our way. Because not everybody can muscle through, not everybody can fight and win. Not everybody wants to, not everybody needs to. And then we have this whole segment of society that can't, for whatever reason. They mentally can't do it. They physically can't do it. They emotionally can't do it. You know, you take people with PTSD, you can't put them in certain situations. That PTSD will get triggered. You take people who have been through certain physical experiences, not necessarily elderly and infirm, although that's part of it too, but there's a lot of people that physically can't tolerate things. It's not that they're weak and that they're bad, but they can't do it. But you know what? They can do something else. Oh my gosh, there's a lot that they can do. Same thing with people who suffer from PTSD. It's not that we become defective once we can no longer do something. There's always something we can do. And humans value work. We value work within ourselves. There's all this talk about entitlements and what we're entitled to and what we're not entitled to, and is healthcare an entitlement, and is, you know, welfare an entitlement, and is this an entitlement, that an entitlement. It makes my head spin. We are all entitled to anything, really. We are entitled to human dignity. We are entitled to give what we are capable of giving, and we are also entitled to receive what we can't give. You always hear those arguments about, you know, lazy people. Sometimes people go through a lazy streak. Sometimes people are lazy in a certain way. But everybody wants to do something. Oh my goodness, I so promise you, everybody wants to do something. Think about yourself when you have been sick and you've laid in bed and you've been miserable and you can't wait to get up again because it makes you insane laying in bed. Or even on vacation sometimes. By the end, you're like, oh, I'm so done relaxing. I so need to get up and do things. There's lazy points. There's down points in our life, but there's also up points in our life. There are times systems get abused, but there are also times systems don't get abused. It balances out in cycles. And as long as we're locked into this belief that I have to muscle through and I have to power through and it's me, independence, that becomes this more violently taking and hoarding, and it really messes up that whole interdependence of society and how it should be. Give and take. Cycles of giving more, cycles of taking more. I started this by talking about your family, whether it's the family that you live in now or the family that you grew up in, whether it's an extended family or anything. There are times you give more and there are times you take more. And there's this brilliant theory, a whole theory of triangles, and that people get caught in relationships. And the ability of us to shift out of relationship dynamics by altering the amounts that we give or the amounts that we receive. And that's how we break out of that idea that we have to be independent and fight and do it all right, and we deserve certain things and we don't deserve certain things. And let me tell you how that works. How that works is, the idea is, when we're in balance, my husband takes out the trash, I do the laundry. We balance, We have great relationships. We have great cycles of interdependence because we're all doing what we're good at. Sometimes something happens that knocks that off balance and somebody becomes extra needy. And it could start off for a very valid reason, and it doesn't really matter how it starts off, but the point is one person becomes more needy. And they start taking and taking and taking and draining and draining and draining. And then everybody in that system, in that little triangulation series, starts pouring more and more into that person, and it becomes a funnel. And the more this person receives, the more these people give, and the more they give, the more it receives. And it becomes out of balance. It's not that the person receiving is evil, bad, and naughty. It's a cycle that's been created and everything gets pulled in. And how to break that? It would be nice if we could just say, hey, you're really taking too much, but that doesn't work that way. How you have to break that is recognize when you're being an overgiver. Recognize when you are doing too much, in that you are using no receptive skills, so to speak. You have become a god. You have become brilliant. You have become a savior. And we all like to feel brilliant and godlike and like a savior, but we're not receiving back from that other person. And in every relationship, we need to receive from the other person too. So look at the dysfunctional person in your life. What are you receiving from them? And what can you ask from them so that you can start receiving from them again and create that healthy balance? Because once you start receiving from that person, they feel better. And when they feel better, they quit becoming that drain that's sucking everything in because they feel better. So think about that. What can you receive? So that's that whole systems theory on the family level. Let's move that out to society. What are we giving on a societal level? What are we giving to our old, our young, our infirm? What are we giving and what are we receiving from them? People complain about entitlements. What are we receiving as we give? When my kids were in preschool, they used Child Find Services, which was a service that helps kids in preschool because my kids had some sensory integration issues. The service came out and gave us the gift of their services. They had a person that would come to the preschool and work with the 4 or 5 kids in there who had kind of that range of, I hate to call them issues, but it's just that range of identified behaviors. My kids didn't like the way clothes felt. They were very defensive to touch. Nothing wrong with that. It's just what it is. I don't know. I said, I'm great with kids. I'm great with kids. I didn't know anything about sensory integration. I didn't know why their clothes bugged them so bad. Child Find came in and gave us the gift of working with my kids, of working with me to understand how I could desensitize their skin, how I could make them comfortable wearing clothes. I learned that the services ended. Now I am handing that gift on to other people. It's that give and it's that take. I receive that. Now I need to pass it on. On a societal level, if we are giving an entitlement, perfect. Help people where they need help, and then empower them to go forward and give that gift. It's that whole pay it forward concept. It's that interdependence. If we are paying for, say, a woman to get out of an abusive relationship, if we are paying for her mental health care, if we're paying for her drug and alcohol treatment, if we are paying for a safe place for her to live, if we are paying for her children to have counseling services as well, maybe healthcare services as well, a safe place to live, we have just empowered someone to go out and live her dreams, to let her sparkle touch other people in the world, and to enliven others. It's not that we've given someone a hand out because they're lazy, dirty, bad, awful, ugly. It's we have empowered them to empower others. And that's what interdependence is all about. And that's how we need to change this dialogue. We need to think in terms of what we can give to other people to empower them to give more. And it's not tit for tat. It's not that, hey, we got you out of this abusive relationship. We gave you 19 counseling sessions, 14 drug and alcohol sessions, and a place to live for 6 weeks. You need to give that back. That might not be her gift. Her gift might be something entirely different, but because we have scooped her up and held her, we have now allowed that gift to manifest. And it could be something brilliant like top of society doctor level. And it could not be, and that is okay. The point is, it's her gift, and we are holding her, containing her, elevating her, and honoring her through our gifts. And then she will come back and will make our society better in some way that we might not know right away. And she might make us better this much, and she might make us better this much. And it doesn't matter. It's that cycle, it's that interdependence. And I'd like you to think about that personally. I'd like you to think about that in your own families. What gifts are you giving people? What gifts are you receiving from other people? And are you allowing yourself to receive? Because, like I said, believe it or not, receiving is hard. Now, there are 5 steps of receiving that I have researched and that I really believe to be true. And I'm going to go through those, and I want you to think about them personal as well as societal. The very first way that we can learn how to receive, the very first thing that we need to do is accept that we are enough. Oh my gosh, that's hard. I am enough as a stay-at-home mom. I am enough as a doctor. I am enough as a lawyer. I am enough as a sanitation worker. I am enough as a person with chronic disease. I am enough as a person with PTSD. I am enough as a person with schizophrenia. It doesn't matter. You are enough. Our society is enough, whether it's really warped and not functioning, or whether it's brilliant in changing the world. The first step is accepting that we are perfect, whole, and complete, just as we are. And when we get in that space of knowing that, then we see our value and our gifts, no matter what those gifts and values are. That's the hardest thing in the world. Second step is becoming more discerning about our own giving. Like I said earlier, we all love to feel like the savior and the hero, and we all love to be like, yeah, I gave my money, I gave my time, I taught that person, I'm really good. We love that. But then we get locked into this place of overgiving, and when we overgive, we cannot receive. Because I am female, because I'm a mom, I know this pattern of overgiving far too well. Any marginalized group, member of society, probably falls into the pattern of giving too much. I have to give more in the workplace because I am a woman. People who are of a different ethnicity oftentimes have to give more as well to make up for the fact that they are that ethnicity. It's stopping that incessant giving. It's not being the doormat. It's going back to number one, realizing your worth, realizing you are perfect, whole, and complete just as you are, and realizing you have enough value that you can receive. It's not about being lazy. I might do more at work, but I still need to receive at work. And that can be monetary. I might need to receive more in promotions. I might need to receive more in bonuses. I might to receive more in recognition. But I need to receive, and I need to open myself up to receive, which is that third step. It's making room in our lives to receive, making room in our society to receive. Now, what does that mean? First of all, that means accepting things that you receive. When somebody says, I'm going to go do that for you, say thank you. Don't say, no, I've got it. How many of us are guilty of that? I am hugely guilty of that. Laura, let me do this for you. Oh, no, 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 no. Thank you. Thank you so much. But I've got it. It's fine. I've got it. Seriously? Somebody has just offered me a gift and I have just rejected it. I've got it. I'll put the laundry in the dryer for you. No, I've got it. Get a grip. Start receiving. It's hard. Think about compliments. You look great today. Oh, no, 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 no. No, I don't. Thank you, but no, no, I don't. How many of us are so self-depreciating and that we're completely unable to accept compliments? Wow, your eyes are brilliant. Oh, no, no, no. It's just my makeup. Your hair looks great. Oh, no, no, no. It's been windblown. Your kids are so great. I just had conferences yesterday. Your kids are great. Oh, I'm sure they all are. You just say that to everyone. Say thank you, people. Make space in your life for receiving. It's okay to accept help. It's okay to accept a compliment. It's okay to accept money, food, a ride. Oh, something that is so hard for me is to call a friend when my car is getting repaired and be like, hey, can you come pick me up at the dealership so I don't have to sit here for 12 hours while my car gets repaired? That is so hard for me to do. 9 times out of 10, they're driving by anyway. Or it's 5 minutes out of their day and they truly don't care. If somebody calls me and asks for that, I don't care. That is so hard for me to accept that. Where in your life can you learn to make room to receive graciously just by saying thank you? Even if you're out in public and somebody smiles, smile back. Accept their smile, receive their smile. Eye contact and a smile is a huge gift. Take it. Don't do this. How many times does that happen? I smile all the time. I'm a smiley person. But so often I see someone in the store and I'm like, ah, and they go, I'm like, oh my gosh, I am not approaching you. I am just smiling at you. Receive. Accept that as a gift. Which moves me into that fourth step. And that fourth step is relaxing into the feeling of receiving. Like I said, we're in a culture of I'm going to go forth and conquer and fight and win, 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 win. Receive. Relax into the feeling of receiving. Receiving is not weakness. It sounds funny, but I have consciously tried to sit back when my husband is taking out the trash and just be like, yeah, I'm in here. He's out there. It's snowy. It's dark. It smells. And I'm in here. Thank you. And part of that is gratitude. And part of that is also just that mental awareness that somebody is doing something for me, so I don't have to do it. Thank you. Every morning, he brings me coffee in bed. I love that because I hate waking up. I'm a slow starter and I like to lay there and just hang. I wish I could say beautifully meditate, but no, I more just like lay there and go, oh, before I move into my beautiful meditations. And that gift of a cup of coffee, I receive, and I try to actively receive that. And I try to move into those feelings of, yes, gratitude, but also just receptiveness. He's giving it to me, and I can honor his gift by receiving it. There's nothing worse than when we give something away and it's rejected. None of us like to be rejected. So why are we so quick to reject? And why are we so quick to reject in that manner of preserving ourselves? It's not that somebody is giving you something or me something that we truly don't want. It's something we want. We want those compliments. Everybody wants a compliment. I'm sorry. Everybody does. Everybody wants a compliment, a real sincere compliment. So why do we reject it? Nobody wants to be rejected. Yet we reject time after time. You look great. No, I don't. Wow, I really enjoyed your. Nope, you didn't. It's a rejection. Holy cow. If you don't like to be rejected, don't reject others. Now, I'm not obviously talking about ridiculous gifts, bad touch, anything like that. That's totally different. This is a gift. Accept the gift. If you really don't want that physical gift, accept it anyway. You can give it to somebody else. You can do something with it that's beautiful, but learn to accept. Quit rejecting. Think about that on a societal level. It's hard to receive. It's hard to give. Open yourself up. What is the gift that you're being given? How can you give other things, and how can you make that cycle continue to cycle? It's that whole closed fist idea. You can't hoard. You can't hold on to everything. You can't have fierce independence. Not in this world, not in any way, shape, or form. Nobody can do it all. So quit trying. We are actually far more independent when we have a complete sense of interdependence, because we can be who we are and we can let all of our gifts out. Which leads right into that fifth step. And that is have fun and be joyful in this entire process of receiving. Get rid of all those layers of, what if he gives me this? And then what if I can't give that back? And if I accept this, then I'm going to have to give this. How many times, seriously, have you heard, somebody gave me this great present and it stinks because their birthday is right around the corner and now I have to come up with a great present for them? No, you don't. Receive what people are offering. Receive what people are giving you. And then worry about your own gift later on. It's not balanced in that interaction. It's balanced amongst everybody. Was it more valuable for someone to sew up my dog? Or was it more valuable for me to teach somebody's child meditation techniques in middle school yoga? I don't know. They're both valuable in their own sense. I'm grateful for both of them. I'm happy to give and I'm happy to receive. And if everybody else is in that state of equal, open, honest acceptance, then we're all good. Because I'll do for you whatever I love giving, and I will take from you whatever you love giving, and then we're all good, and it's this beautiful interdependence. And then amongst all of us, we're going to have enough for all of us, and it's always going to work, and we're never going to get stuck. So that leads me right in to my list of questions that I collected on Facebook. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to run through a lot of these questions. And as I do, I want you to think about that whole cycle of giving and receiving. I want you to think about that whole balance. Life is hard, and we need this interdependence between everybody in order to succeed. And when we get stuck, which we will, we need other people to spring us free. Okay? So one of the questions is, I live off of a disability pension that only covers 2/3 of my already very frugal expenses. What are your ideas? I can't do this anymore. That's a big one. And that's a tough one. Because let's move back to that entitlement and this fierce independence and that we all have to fight and do it on our own, blah, 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 blah. Can't you just hear, disability, what'd you do wrong? Okay, back way off of all that. It doesn't matter. This is where we're at now. This person is living on disability because she can't work right now. Right now, she needs to be in a receptive, receiving state. Going back to those 5 things, first thing I would challenge her to do is accept that she is enough. 2, release society's judgments. What did you do wrong? This is an entitlement. You don't deserve it. Why can't you work? Is there something you can do part-time? All of that rhetoric that gets locked in our heads, in our hearts, in our energy field. Number 1 thing you can do, deal with the fact that you are enough. Unable to work, you're still enough. Behind on your bills, still enough. Frugal living, still enough. Really working with that energy of I am enough. Then, step 2, becoming discerning with the giving. I'm willing to bet this person isn't giving a lot of material things maybe, but I'm also willing to bet that she's probably giving excuses, giving blocks to other people to help them to understand why she is enough. I'm giving you my story. I'm giving you my excuse, so to speak. And that's not like a blame, shame thing, but it's that energy of I have to pour more out to make myself more worthy so you will understand how difficult this is. Part and parcel of the same thing, but that's the second step. Be discerning with what you're giving out. Be discerning with those pieces of your heart, the pieces of your story. Not everybody deserves that. Be discerning. Number 3, making room in your life to receive. No, your disability payment isn't going to increase. It is fixed. I believe you that you are living extremely frugally. I believe there's probably not much else you can do to cut. I also believe that no, you cannot go get a part-time job right now. You are where you are. Your circumstances are fixed. But where on an energetic level can you open yourself up to receive? Where can you make room in your life to receive maybe gifts of some food, maybe gifts of people who are trying to find someone to do something for them that is not necessarily a job? But what service from your heart can you give other people that they can in turn give you something and start creating that cycle? Where can you open up to be like, I am here. I am ready to accept your gifts of money, time, food, work, whatever it is, clothing, household items. Open yourself up to receive, and know that receiving doesn't often look like what we think it is. It's not us saying, I am open to $1 million check in my mail. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but it usually comes out in different ways. What are some of the ways that you can open up to receive and not be defensive? I really am sick. I really can't do this. I'm not getting an entitlement. I'm not lazy. I'm not sitting at home not doing anything. I am here. I am enough. I am valid. I am discerning with my story and my truth and my heart, and I am ready. I am a queen, and I am ready to receive. It's an energy shift. But once we shift our energy, that's when we shift our life. Number 4, relaxing into that feeling, not being defensive about it, just being okay with it. And then the last step, having fun with that. Seeing where it leads, seeing what kind of beautiful opportunities are out there, and enjoying it. Now, every question that people threw out, that was the one that I just chose to go through. Single mom, not having enough money. Post-divorce, feeling lonely, gaining weight, all of these different things. A lot of caregivers. There's a lot of caregivers out there that need support. Everything really boiled down to receiving and our cultural inability to receive. So whatever you're facing right now, please walk yourself through those 5 steps. Start learning how to receive. And I promise you, even if you're sitting there right now thinking my problem has nothing to do with giving and receiving and my inability to receive, I promise you it does. In some way, shape, or form, because this is our culture and we're fiercely independent and we're going to fight and we're going to win, blah, 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 blah. Interdependence, people. Healthy interdependence of giving and receiving. Self-depreciation. Any bad habit that we have got really relates to giving and receiving. I work so hard. Other people aren't giving me the respect I deserve. I work so hard. Other people are causing problems. How can you receive when there's people in your life that are causing problems? What can you receive from them? People here with bad neighbors. People here with bad bosses. People here with bad coworkers. What can you receive? Going through those steps, worthiness, opening yourself up, shifting your energy will shift. Talk about that systems theory, that triangulation. Instead of pouring something out, you're pulling it back in and you're creating that healthy balance. So please reach out to me, discuss. I'm happy to share. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to answer your questions in future broadcasts. Lora at pyramidfusion.com, Lora. Find me on Facebook, Lora Cheadle. Facebook page, Flaunt, Build Your Dreams, Live Your Sparkle. I have a Facebook group, Flaunt Fitness. You can find me anywhere. You can even text me, 303-994-4945. Think about that, how deeply ingrained this culture is within you. And your challenge for the next week is to go out there and to think about how you can receive and how you can bring balance back into your life So we can really move into a culture of interdependence instead of being fiercely independent, where we can all truly build each other up and have the ability to finally fully express ourselves and everything that we are good at. So you all have a fantastic, wonderful week. Thank you so much for being here with me live. Listen to my radio show, tune into my next thing, and like I said, reach out. As you can tell, I love to talk. So have a great week and don't forget to flaunt. Bye.